It's been a while since I have seen a movie in the theaters and thought to myself, I have to see this again before it gets released to streaming. I think the last time I thought that was when Top Gun Maverick came out, and before then, it was probably a good of 4 or 5 years. But Dune Part 2 is definitely one that I want to see on the big screen as many times as I can. It is a visual masterpiece. But before I get too far in my spoiler-free review, hi, I'm Laura from Your Little Sisters Productions, and I love to talk about movies. Just a quick shout out to the artist behind our avatar artwork, Lindsay K. I'll leave her Instagram handle in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a like, comment your thoughts on Dune below, and subscribe to see future videos. Our goal is to get to at least 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we can't do it without you. So thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Okay, so Dune Part 2 is obviously the sequel to the 2021 movie Dune, and is a continuation of the adaptation of the first Dune book. It picks up right where we left off in the first movie. So if you haven't seen the first movie before or it's been a while, I definitely recommend rewatching it before going to see part 2. This is a fantastic continuation of the story. It gets into Paul's growing into the Muad'Dib character that his mother believes he can be, the grand scope and scale of the Bene Gesserit's planning and their reach, the dispute between the Harkonnens and the Fremen and Paul, because the first movie took care of the majority of the world building and the exposition, this movie is able to focus more on the meat of the story. We're able to see a Fremen siege and learn more of their culture and the religion that the Bene Gesserit have been planting for centuries. And we finally get to see the Emperor himself on screen, played by none other than Christopher Walken, which was a surprise, but a very pleasant one. He's a great actor. This is what happens with sequels when the first movie does its job properly. You're able to just get right into the story and dig a little deeper because the world has already been introduced to the audience, and it was entertaining enough for us to want to come back for more. This is one of the reasons that The Two Towers is my favorite of the three Lord of the Rings films. The cinematography in this movie is easily one of my favorite parts of watching it on the big screen, and why I encourage everyone who is able to follow suit. Watch it on the biggest possible screen you can. It is worth it. There are so many breathtaking shots throughout. Beautiful, epic, powerful, moving, terrifying, you name it. A shot evoking that emotion is there. It pulls you into the scenes and makes you feel as if you were right there in the world of Dune, experiencing the events with the characters. That is the power of a masterfully shot movie. Greg Fraser is the cinematographer for this movie, and even though this is still the beginning of the year and we have a lot of other movies yet to release, I think he 100% deserves an Oscar win for his work in this film. We'll see if any other movie this year changes my opinion on that, but I doubt it. Another aspect of the cinematography that I loved is the non-shaky camera and not cutting away during fight scenes. I love watching well choreographed fight scenes that actually allow you to see the fight clearly. And I feel that a lot of movies lately don't really allow the camera to stay still long enough to see the choreography clearly, which is a huge pet peeve of mine when watching movies and TV shows. The fight scenes in this movie are intense. They feel real and gritty and keep your eyes glued to the screen to see what's going to happen next. Everything that a good fight scene should be, in my opinion. The acting in this movie is insanely good. There is not a single weak link or a phoned in performance in the whole movie, no matter how small the role. Everyone plays their part just as they should, which helps bring life and believability to the story. Some standouts for me are Javier Bardem as Stilgar. You may remember him from the first Dune movie. He gets a much larger part to play in this movie and does it really well, showing how intelligent and strong Stilgar is, as well as how faith-driven and hopeful he is, and how that drives his actions throughout the film. Austin Butler is scarily good as Feyd-Rautha, the nephew of the Baron Harkonnen. Legitimately one of my favorite acting performances I've seen in the past few years. Terrifying, cold, not someone I would ever want to come across in my day-to-day life. Excellent performance. Rebecca Ferguson hits all the right notes as Jessica, delivering some of my personal favorite looks or lines throughout. One of my favorite parts when watching good actors is what they do as their character when the focus is not on them. And of course, the main two actors in this film, Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, nail their roles. Zendaya has a much bigger role in this movie than the first, and you can see why they chose her to play Chani. She is confident, strong, vulnerable, and challenging, and she helps bring in the sense of realism to the story and how she's able to make Chani feel like a real, nuanced, layered person. Timothy does an excellent job of showing the character arc Paul Atreides has in this movie, bringing a certain gravitas to his performance that I don't think I've seen from him before in other roles. It was a very pleasant surprise, and I hope he's able to get more complex roles after this because he is clearly a very talented actor and has a lot more to offer. This story deals with a lot of heavy themes, such as religion and religious fervor, revenge, the pursuit of power and political intrigue, and destiny versus personal choice, but it balances it all really well. Instead of feeling bogged down by all the moving parts and motivations of other characters, it all points back to the heart of the story, as a good story well told should do. The only slightly negative thing I can even think about with this movie is that there were some events and scenes I felt could have been drawn out just a little bit more. This movie is already quite long for a blockbuster, coming in at 2 hours and 45 minutes long. But it is so entertaining and gripping that I truly believe it could have added another 15, 20, even 30 minutes to its runtime and not feel sluggish or boring. Maybe they'll release an extended edition later on, much like Lord of the Rings did, and expand on some of those moments. Who knows? If they do, I will be at the front of the line to watch it. I love living in the world that Denis Villeneuve has created for Dune. A lot of other people have been comparing these Dune movies to The Lord of the Rings, and I can absolutely see why. They are epic in their storytelling, in their making us feel like we're in another world, and the acting performances, the set designs, the passion that just comes off with every single shot of the movie. You can tell everyone involved was so happy to be there, worked so hard to bring this story to life. I can completely understand why people are comparing it to another Lord of the Rings epic trilogy. The set designs, the costume designs, the special effects, they all help us to feel as though we are watching a story that takes place on a planet and in a time different than our own. That is the magic of a truly well done movie. It transports you out of your own life and into the story it is telling. When you have elements that all work together seamlessly, it allows you to better suspend your disbelief and enjoy what is in front of you. That doesn't mean you have to have a big budget to make a good movie. There are lots of movies out there with big budgets that are bad, and plenty of smaller budget movies that are pretty good. What matters is how you use what you have, and I feel that the director, Denis Villeneuve, used what was at his disposal perfectly. This movie is an absolute must watch in the theaters, in my opinion. If you haven't seen the first Dune movie, I highly recommend watching it, and then as soon as you can, running to see Dune Part 2 in the theaters. It is PG-13 for good reason, so as always, use your judgment in regard to your children if you have any on what is and isn't age appropriate for them. And thank you again so much for clicking on that like button and hitting that subscribe button to see more videos like this from us in the future. We love telling stories, so much so that we have our own original script audio drama called Adventures of the Dragonborn here on our YouTube channel. Go check it out. We have some incredible voice actors and talented singers who helped us bring this story to life. If you want to see more movie reviews or entertainment themed videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Again, we're wanting to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And thank you so much for watching. Check out Lindsay K Art at her Instagram. I'll leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.